Okay, we're going to draw this block as practice for reading prints and schematics and machine diagrams and such. Notice it's just a block with some pockets cut in it and one groove cut in it. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward dimensions. We'll find it's a good practice drawing, learn a lot from it. I've already got it drawn on this page, and I've got a reference drawing right here in drawing 2. So I'm going to rename this as reference drawing 1. If I look at it, it gives me all the details for the dimensions, so I'll have to refer to it from time to time. But anyway, to get started, I'll create a part studio. Gives me a blank drawing face. I'm going to create a sketch on the top plane. I'm going to click the cube to go normal to the top plane. I'm just going to draw a corner rectangle starting at this point right here. Okay, now I've got my rectangle. I've got to look at my reference drawing for a minute to get my dimensions. It's the sum of this, so it's going to be twice 0.630 plus 0.945. So it's going to be 2 times 0.630 plus 0.945. So when I go back to dimension this, sorry, wrong page. When I go back to dimension this, gotta find the right tab. Here we go. When I go back to assign my dimension, I can actually assign that dimension line just like that. I do need to change my default units to inches. So workspace units, change it to inches. And I'll need to open this back up, and I'll need to type it in as 2 times 0.630 plus 0.945. I believe that was the dimensions. So I'm going to hit enter, and it sums that up at a little over 2 inches. And I'll do the same thing for the right hand view. I'll look back at my reference drawing, and I'll see based on this here that this width is 1.457. This is the width of basically this line right here, which is this line right across the top. Okay. As someone would see this looking from the side view. So 1.457 is this length here and here. So I'll go back to my part studio, and I will define it at 1.457. There's nothing wrong with taking your printout, or at least a copy of your printout, and writing these numbers down and summing them up by hand. Okay, now I look back. I know I've got a line that's offset by 0.630 from this edge, so I'm going to use my offset command. Assign those dimensions to an offset. Same thing on this side. Take that, and now I need to check and see what my inset is down from the top, and I don't have that, so let's go ahead and correct this one while we're at it. I'll do that right here. So it can drop down by 0.472. So I will drop this one down that direction by 0.472. And now I'll trim away the things I don't need. I don't need this, I don't need this, nor this. Nor this at this point. That gives me that rough outline. Looks kind of like a block with a slot cut in it. Okay, so that finishes me up on this. I'm going to look at it from an isometric view, accept it, and Take a look at it, and now I need to check the height. And looking over here at the height, I see that it is 1.417 inches tall. So I'll come back over here. Oh, wrong one. Come back over here and do a new extrusion, 1.417 inches tall. And that'll give me a solid with the groove cut in it. I can kind of look at it and kind of get my perspective on it, make sure I'm understanding what I'm doing. The next thing I need to do is draw the pocket in this area right in here. So once again, I'll take a sketch and create it on this plane, and I'll right click and hit view normal to sketch plane. That'll put me square on to this, be the left hand side of the object, I guess, or the front view of the object. I need to check my dimensions, and I see that that cutout is 0.983 over and 0.435 up. So to go back to my object, I can once again use my offset command. You'll find that that works quite well. I'll set this bottom line up by the 0.435, and I'll offset this line over to the right by 0.983, and that gives me the outline of the area I need to trim away or to pocket out here, and I'll cut this excess off here because I no longer need it. And that gives me a surface on this face which can now be extruded using a removal extrusion. So I'll hit remove, or hit extrude, hit remove, select this face, and I'll spin it around where I can kind of see what I'm looking at here a little better. Bring it back into the center. Basically, I'm pushing this in and removing material, and I'll have to check my reference drawing for the depth. And it tells me that this depth is 0.354 inches right here, 0.354 inches. So I'll come back over here, type that in, 0.354. Go back to isometric. I've got that, looks pretty good for what we're doing. So I'll create a new sketch on the right plane or the right viewpoint. I'm going to view normal to it. I've got another pocket to cut out, so I need to check my dimensions. I see that's 0.945 to the right and 0.667 up for this dimension. And by this dimension, I see that it's 0.821 into the material, or a depth of 0.821. So coming back over here, I'll put those dimensions in. So once again, I will create a sketch on this face. I've already done that. I'll zoom in. I'll use that offset command to offset those parameters. And it was 0.945 to the right. Bottom was 0.667 upwards. Okay, once again, trim away the excess. Now that it's time to extrude it, what I've done is I've drawn an extrudable surface onto the face of my block. Zoom out a little bit where it's a little easier to see. I said I like to use the isometric view when I'm extruding. It never hurts to just click it real quick and jump in. Now hit extrude, do a removal extrusion, select my surface, make sure it's the right direction, and you can just eyeball it either direction, see how it follows. Since we know the exact dimension was 0.821, I'll type that in, 0.821. That'll give me that cutout inside the object. Alright, so now I've completed the model. It looks good. Now we will redraw and recreate the two-dimensional diagram that we're actually using to draw this from, and we will have come full circle. We will have taken a 2D drawing, created a 3D model out of it, and then produced a two-dimensional drawing from our 3D model using Onshape. So I will create my drawing. I'm going to use the ANSI A template again. And this actually goes pretty quickly. I'm going to insert my getting started block in. Actually, my Part Studio 2 is the one we drew. I'm going to make sure you get the one we just drew. Part Studio 2, I'm going to put it in as it really doesn't matter here. I'm going to put it in as a top view. I just feel better with that. I'm going to put in a top view, and now I'm going to project the other two views, which should be my side view, my front view, and now we'll project the side view, or the right hand side, if you're looking at the six-sided cube. Okay, and now I want to do a projected view, sort of an orthographic view of our drawing. Let me get the one I'm looking for here. Notice as you go different quadrants and different angles, it changes the view. I've got to find the one I'm looking for. And I can't seem to get it from here. So tell you what, I'm going to escape, hit that again, and try this one. And that's the one I'm looking for. Okay, so there's different ones that are available. Sometimes you just have to experiment around with it a little bit to find the one you like. When you get the view you're looking for, place it, and then you're free to move it around and put it anywhere you like, actually on your drawing. So I'll move these down just a little. Notice they all shift. If I move one, they all shift. And that's a nice thing. Okay, real quickly, I'm going to dimension it. Hit your key points. Hit this one. Endpoint to input. Endpoint. Same here. Endpoint to endpoint. We'll drop this one down into here. Get my depth. I'll drag it out to the side. And my lower left pocket. Notice I do not have to keep hitting the dimension command every time. Also, I'm going to kill the dimension command by hitting escape. I'm going to turn show hidden lines on for each object. I have to select them individually and then select the next one. I haven't figured out how to do them all at once and get it right. Okay, so now I can dimension the other key points, top of this pocket, height of the object, height of my cutout, or the height to this dimension here anyway, the depth of this cut. Notice my snaps just find the key points automatically. And then I'll get this dimension. And I'll go back and get this dimension. I'm going to stagger these two just a little. Overall width. And see if I'm missing it. Okay, I'm missing my vertical dimensions here. Okay, dimensions from here to here. And the dimension from here to here. And since those are kind of falling on top of one another, I'm going to drag it out just a little further and bring it back. That lines them up like that. And I believe that gets all of the dimensions that I need. Okay, I missed one right here. Let's get this one to here. Same thing here. I can go back. I can deselect this. I can select this one by the middle and drag it into the middle, and notice it will correct the arrows so that they don't overlap one another. And that completes my dimensioning. Okay, for your use, you would come over here and put your name on it. get rid of all the drawing stuff. Come right here, put practice 1, practice block, something like that. And then create a electronic print or a real print, whichever your instructor told you to do, and turn it in using the method of the assignment. The print command is right here. That produces a printable document. And you can hit the printer icon here and choose the printer that you would like to print to. Most of the time we use the XPS format, so hit change and go right here and click XPS format. And that will end the video.